Going live. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carlia Swanson, and we are back with the Music is Uni's Artist Series. And I have the distinct pleasure, the joy to welcome jazz vocalist. You've seen her everywhere, Samara Joy.
Uh,
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. So, we've been in this pandemic for about going on 3 years now. So, I want you to take me back to March 2020. What were you doing?
March 2020, I was in my junior year of undergrad, and I was having rehearsals for my first weekly like resident, not weekly, but my first residence of gigs where it would be Thursday to Saturday. I'd be working at this wonderful jazz club called Dizzy's in Jazz and Lincoln Center in the city, and I was really excited. I was like, it's my first opportunity. They're taking a chance on me. I can't wait. And then literally the week of the gig, nothing. Everything's
Wow.
shut down. Everything's closed. And it was like the world was like falling apart around us. I'm like, what's happening? Everybody's getting sent home. You have 3 days to leave. You have 3 days to pack up and leave and go back home. Everything's switching to Zoom. Teachers trying to figure out, how to even work the technology and having students help and stuff. So it was definitely a crazy time, um, an uncertain time for sure. So it's kind
So,
of
what have
interesting.
been some of the biggest challenges you faced throughout the pandemic?
Hmm. Keeping that same, I guess, feeling of community, because before, being able to freely gather with people and freely play and practice and having that stuff kind of taken away, and you just and switching to a more virtual way of learning, that social aspect, trying to keep that uh alive and as much as possible while keeping everybody safe. I think that's been the hardest part for me, because I am an introvert, but I guess thrive off of being surrounded by really wonderful musicians and great people and stuff like that. So kind of being isolated and group chats, switching from in person and to Zoom movie hangs and stuff like that. So I think that the social aspect definitely
Yeah,
affected me a lot more than I expected it to.
I feel that. I call myself like an extroverted introvert. So that means like I have to get enough like social time in order to
Mhm.
be the introvert. And if
Right,
like
right,
I don't
right.
get both of them, I'm kind of like unbalanced.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in addition to like the challenges you faced throughout the pandemic, some good stuff has happened with like your viral video.
Mhm.
So take me back to that, and also, um, what do you think it is that the role of the arts is in the pandemic?
Hmm. Well, I did a video in August of 2020 because I was named an Ella Scholar going into my senior year. Um, and so, for the people at the foundation, me and the head of the conservatory, Professor Pete Maliburney, we decided to make a video, in thanks to them for choosing me as one of the Ella Scholars for that year. And unexpectedly, it just like got over 1 million views on Facebook, which uh, it was kind of hard to believe. That's like my first, I guess, viral moment that I was a part of. So from that, I decided to make a GoFundMe because I thought about, and the thing is, at first I was like, okay, people, they like the live streams and they're craving music and they haven't been outside. And so then I collaborated with this producer and he was like, it would be great, if we recorded an album in the midst of the pandemic to be released, later in the year, hopefully when things open up. And that was a big risk to me because I was like, why am I recording music? This is definitely not where when I would have been planning to record my first album, when things are so uncertain and there was no vaccine yet at the time, I don't believe. So um but it turns out that it worked, and and we raised enough money for the GoFundMe and got to record October of 2020. I was still in school, and released it this past July. And still, while it where we have restrictions, and I'm probably those restrictions won't be lightened up until everybody is vaccinated. But um, I think that the role of the arts, it's been proven to bring people together, even in this, like before this, but especially now, even more so. It's like we see how essential it is. So I I'm glad that we took that risk of making music and people actually enjoyed it and absorbed it and supported it.
I agree. It's definitely a great album, and it is amazing how music can all bring us together. But something you said, so talk about making an album your senior year of college, and what was that experience like trying to balance the two, being an artist and also a music student?
That was I it was interesting because I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think this is supposed to be something that I'm planning, later when I have a little bit more performance experience because I was just starting to get like more gigs and more, working experience like singing in front of people at that point, like right in March of 2020. So not having that, I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like I'm like it's the extent of my experience is like performing transcriptions in class right now. So so I can't do this. But after we had the rehearsals and we had three rehearsals and then we went right into the studio. And with wonderful musicians who have recording experience. So it was a lot easier than I guess I painted it out to be. And now I look forward to recording and documenting my growth since then because I feel like I've had the chance to perform a lot more and gain a lot more professional experience. So but it was definitely a challenge at first. I was hesitant because I was like, I don't know if people want to hear this, but
Oh.
but thank goodness I took the chance and went with it because it definitely it changed my life. So
Wow. It's really encouraging to hear you say that because I feel like a lot of students feel like that being in music school, especially in music school when it's like a cultivating process that sometimes feels like, oh, they're just telling me everything I'm doing wrong. And so it's really encouraging to like hear that you had um, kind of those doubts of not being ready, but how you just did it and look how it turned out.
mhm.
So talking about your album, what was your approach to this first album? How did you select the standards that you chose? Arrangements? How did that all come together?
So when like talking back and forth with the producer and sort of whittling down songs that I wanted to do, the main focus was, I didn't grow up singing jazz, and so these past 4 years of being in school, I learned this wealth of music and standards that have since become, I feel like or at least I've grown to have a relationship with them. It's like I love these songs, I love hearing them, I love specific versions of how they're interpreted and stuff. So the songs that I chose were the ones that I learned that I felt had the main impact on me, and I felt like I could authentically convey, even though most of the standards, the subject matter, I didn't really relate to, and still I'm still struggling to figure out how to balance singing these mature songs from the perspective of somebody who hasn't gone through that yet. So um I just tried to choose songs. It's like I heard Carmen McRae's version, I heard Sarah's version, and I really loved it. And so I know that I can at least give it a shot as far as singing it and telling the story to other people, to whoever listens to it. So I chose the songs that way. I was like, here are the songs that I really love and I've loved learning and listening to over the past couple of years. And I got together with the guitar player and we worked out each of the arrangements together. I was just like, I'm hearing this, and maybe we add a shout chorus here. What do you think? It was easy though because he was obviously an incredible musician, Pasquale Grasso, who plays guitar on the whole record, and yeah, going back and forth with him and exchanging ideas on the songs that I chose. A great process for my first time.
Wow. I love how it all came together so organically. So you have mentioned Carmen McRae. So for people that don't know, what is the importance of jazz history and just like listening to the genre and really learning the language of the music?
Hmm. Well, it's not unfortunately, it's not popular. So, you can't, I mean, you can hear it on the radio, but it's not like the main sound that people have in their ears today, when listening to music and stuff. So, I think the importance, especially of getting that sound in your ear and like understanding, okay, this is what jazz sounds like. And you kind of, I guess you have to fight every day because you're fighting with, TikTok trends and, the pop music of today and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to I guess get acclimated to it. But it's important to know the history of the music because they created it. So it's not like I can create something new or sing something new and, um I guess try to, come up with something original when it's like literally it's been an oral tradition, passed down. And it's relatively new compared to other genres of music. It's only like 100 years old. So as far as, the recordings of jazz music. So I think that it's incredibly important to know and to understand and to absorb, as far as the sound, as far as the musicians and the singers who kind of paved the way for us to be doing it now.
I agree. And it makes me so sad sometimes with young people and they're like, I don't listen to jazz. I don't like jazz. And it's like, this is the only indigenous American art form. So it's kind of sad that they don't know that tradition.
Hmm.
Um, but I want you to take me back now. So I know you grew up in a musical family. I
Hmm.
saw your granddaddy singing. I saw your
Yeah.
daddy singing on TikTok. So when did you realize that you could sing?
Well, I always love copying them, right? Like I love copying my dad and my aunts, and when we would gather for Thanksgiving, we would sing together, gather together and just gather around a piano and start singing. And I would try to keep up, but I guess I really after doing a lot of copying, like I loved listening to Kiki Shear growing up, so trying to copy her, trying to copy Kim Burrell. And in middle school, I started to participate not only in the choral classes but in the plays that they would put on, in the musicals. And so um I would normally get a lead role, and I was like, okay, maybe I got something here. It's like, okay, I auditioned and I got one of the main ones. So maybe I can, maybe I can sing a little bit. But I guess that was and I didn't start to, I guess, take it really seriously until I was in high school. Um as far as singing in public, I was always listening to music and always trying to copy and listen to my dad sing and all that kind of stuff. But um in high school, not only being in those musicals in the choir class, but I joined a church, or my family, I should say, we joined a church when I was maybe ending my sophomore year in high school, and I joined that choir. And then I eventually became a worship leader, and I was singing there like for the next until I went to college. I was singing there every week. And I had to learn quickly how to get over my nerves. And there was an amazing MD music director and amazing people um, in the choir and on the worship team that really encouraged me. So I was like on the worship team singing when I was like 16 years old, and trying to like speak on stage and like gain the confidence to to bring people in. And so that was definitely a wonderful development and like training ground for me, as far as really seriously learning how to sing and tell and authentically connect with people.
That's so true. And I think in like music school, that's such a experience that is underrated because you don't really hear a lot about gospel music and music education, but just like the stage presence. And when you go to church, if the pastor says sing, you're going to sing.
Right.
Or just like learning your part orally,
Hmm.
those kind of traditions, they're so important.
Hmm.
Um, but you mentioned Kiki Shear, and I love the Clark sisters.
Yeah.
But she often mentions that she feels pressure sometimes because her mother is just a singer and growing up in a musical family. So did you ever feel any pressure being around so many singers?
They were really supportive. So I guess I put pressure on myself, maybe because I was like, I'm not that good yet. Like I need to learn how to get like that, be that confident and get those runs clean like that. But, they were always very supportive. So I can't say that I felt any pressure, at least from them, onto me about, pursuing a career in music or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what other influences did you have growing up? Musical influences.
Well, my dad, he's an electric bass player and a singer. So and he grew up in church and grew up playing and singing in church. So I think that I got pretty much all of the gospel from him. as far as gospel influences we were listening to: Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin, and Richard Smallwood, and um, the list goes on. And my mom, who didn't grow up in church, she liked to listen to Shaka Khan and the Spinners and Luther Vandross and Stevie Wonder, and my dad does too. But I feel like it was like a melding of those two, I guess, musical backgrounds. He mostly gospel and mostly funk, bass, heavy bass oriented music, and my mom had like the dance house music and stuff, and we just kind of I listened to all of that stuff because I loved and it was what we listened to in the house. So I love listening to it and I love dancing to it. I love hearing all the different instruments and um so I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
No, that was good. That was good. That was a good gathering of
Yeah.
influences. I like it. So Sarah Vaughan, I'm assuming, is also one of your influences. So can you tell us a little bit about her influence and also being in the Sarah Vaughan competition,
Hmm.
winning it, taking it home?
Taking home to go. So getting into purchase and just starting out, um, we had repertoire classes and we had to learn two songs. I think we had to meet twice a week, and so we learned two songs a week and perform them in class. I with along with the other singers, and I was looking up versions, of how to, sing it in class, and I guess prove that I could, I could learn these standards. And so I would look up Ella's version to learn the melody, and then I was listening and I was looking up different videos, and I listened to Sarah Vaughan, and I was like, how is she singing like this? Like with the ease with which she sings, and yet she's doing all of this crazy stuff, and she's just I close my eyes and she's doing all this crazy stuff. I look at her, she's just standing there. Like
Yeah.
so I immediately gravitated towards her sound and her style of singing, in the way that, some of the especially some of the choices that she makes, you can tell that she was around musicians and a wonderful musician herself. As far as uh imposing like harmony on the melody, and sometimes like stuff that I don't want to say regular singers, but stuff that, most of the singers that I hear from that time didn't do. Like she was just way ahead of her time. And so listening to her and I would literally listen to Ella for the melody and then listen to Sarah for how I could change it up and kind of show up in class like, yeah, I got this. Like it was my idea, but no. But so I that was yeah, that was freshman year, basically up until now, up until this point. But um of listening to her, I mean. But I saw posters around the school about the Sarah Vaughan competition, and I was like, I'm a sophomore now. It's been a year. I'm doing this, and I'm definitely not joining any I've never been in a competition, a vocal competition before, so I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Especially it's international. Nah, I'm not gonna do it. So I didn't, and I waited until it was the summer of my sophomore year that year had finished. And one of my professors was like, "Yeah, you should at least try. You should at least try to do it." And so I got together with Leonid at the school while school was out of session, but we got there, and I recorded three songs on my iPhone. I think I had an iPhone 6S at the time or something.
Not the
And
success.
that joint was tiny. All right. But I recorded it on there and I sent it. It was there was like a portal that we could submit our songs on. It was either video or audio. And so but you could see everybody else's submission. So I'm in there like typing through like, okay, she's from Germany, and she sounded like this. Like, how am I gonna even? I can't compete with this. This is international. So I did it anyway. I submitted, and and I'm waiting on the results, still looking through the portal, and like, she's definitely gonna get this. She's definitely gonna get it. And so I get the news. Um, while I was at school. I was doing some assignment, and I looked at my email and was like, "You're one of the five finalists," and I could not. I was like, "Five who? I'm one of the what?" So what? But yeah, I found out, and then I immediately was like, okay, the competition. I found that out in October. Like I submitted in sometime in July, and found out in October during the while school was in session. And then I was like, I have a month to put together, 3 songs that are winning arrangements and winning, choices. So I kind of freaked out at first, maybe for the first 2 weeks. I was like, okay, we got to pick something. We got to pick something heavy, some heavy hitters. And I'm sorry I'm rambling, but we
No.
picked. I tried to pick songs. At first, I tried to pick songs that would had interesting melodies and stuff like that. And then after some talking to from my friends, it was just like you have to pick stuff that you are comfortable with now. It's like you can't, be Sarah Vaughan in a month, or copy Ella note for note in a month. Like you can only do what you can do right now. So it's like pick songs that you are comfortable with, and that will showcase your voice in the best possible light. And so I ended up picking for we had to do 3 rounds. I mean, yeah, two rounds. We had to pick 2 songs for the first round, back to back to back, and then the last round where we did one. You know, we did one each, and then we did a song together, and then they announced the winner. So I picked "Sophisticated Lady" and "Perdido," and then for the ballad, I did one which was kind of complex. It was called "Autumn Nocturne." Um, I rented a gown.
Ooh.
I did the whole rent the runway. I was in there. Um, but the rest of the singers were made. There was one from Italy and one from France. And the other two, they were from here, from Boston and New York. But the whole experience, I mean, I'd never been a part of something like that, so it was really enriching, being in rehearsals with the band, and going through the arrangements. And the competition day came, and I was just really nervous. But it ended up working out, and so I'm really grateful that for that experience, and I'm glad I took a chance, and decided to join, because I just, it's like you miss what is that thing, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I was
Yeah.
like, I would much rather, take the risk and fail, rather than know for sure that I can't, that it's not possible because I didn't try. So
That's so true. I feel like you're giving some good advice. I think a lot of people are scared of things because they don't know what to expect, and you just breaking that down step by step. I feel the
mhm.
confidence growing. Um, so your career has changed greatly. So what was the first moment you were like, "Whoa, this is not the same as it was recently.
Mhm.
These out of the country gigs are different."
The moment that it changed, I think that when the same producer who produced the album, his name is Matt Pearson, and he was also a judge of the competition. And so we got together, and he was like, "Yeah, we can do an album, and we can um, set up some gigs to support it right after, and immediately promote it, et cetera, et cetera. Let me introduce you to these booking agents, and we need to formulate a team. We need to get together a team. I think this could work." So right now, when I guess when that moment I realized the change was when I was meeting, like, I have the manager, booking agent for the US, and a booking agent for Europe, and like
Whoa.
internationally and stuff like that. I was like, "Oh, this is serious. Oh, we got a team here. Like, this is what's going on behind the scenes for, like, you know, like Meg the Stallion or whoever." It's like, it's not just the artist. It's like they have a team backing them, promotion, publicist, radio, label, all this different kind of stuff. So I think that was when it changed. And when the album was released, I was overseas. Like, we well, it was supposed to be we were going to London, Paris for like a mini, like a test out, see how the album does over there, see if we can get some shows over there. London ended up being canceled because of their COVID restrictions. So I only went to Paris for 2 days, and then Italy as a guest, with Emma Cohen's trio. But having this past tour where in November, like, I was gone from October 28th to November 15th or something like that,
Wow.
just off the strength of the album, like promoting it and going to all these places and playing shows. And it went well, and I was like, this is different. This is crazy. I'm going over, like, I had never flown that much. Like, I wasn't on an airplane until I was like 18. That was my first time on an airplane. And so traveling that much in the span of 2 weeks, after the first week, I was like, I need to go home, please. The jet lag, please. But yeah, I think the formation of a team, and then having the experience of going on tour for the first time. Those are two critical, I guess, moments where I was like, yeah, this is a career now. This is it's not just a business as usual.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you.
So tell me about, so you travel to a lot of different countries. So how do you keep yourself like vocally healthy being in so many different places and always on the airplane?
Hmm. It was challenging because we didn't get much sleep the way that that specific tour was set up. So I found myself by the end of it, like the last day, I was like, I'm feeling it like all in my body. So, but that, I mean, it's partially due to me not drinking enough water. So I would say that's first is drink enough water, get enough sleep where you can. Make sure that you're exercising, because it's different, I guess, for musicians because they have an external, vessel. So but our instrument is literally our body, so making sure to take care of it in the best way possible and making sure that you're getting your warm-ups in. um that's the main thing that I can suggest. Just keep it simple like that. Drink your tea if you need to, loosen up all the mucus and stuff because it was cold too, so I was extra making sure to like wrap up and have layers and stuff. That's the main thing that I would suggest to staying vocally healthy, especially because I pretty much was singing like every night. I only
Wow.
had like 2 or 3 breaks. And I'm like, dang, I'm like expected to give the same show, like the same with the same power, with the same um attitude, every single night. I'm not sure if I can, but as long as you do those things and I had to journal a lot. I'll be honest, I had to journal a lot. I had to just be quiet, be by myself, um and pray and be like, Lord, please help me. Just help me to, figure out how to navigate this the best way possible. And yeah, I guess that's the main thing.
That's really a great approach. And I love how you talked about like meditating and praying and journaling, just making sure, because mental health is just so important. And
Hmm.
even now we see like in the pandemic is even like more so important. So I have a question.
Hmm.
Um, what is the secret to a viral video? Because you have a lot of them.
Do I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the secret. I don't know the secret. I don't know. I definitely don't know how that first one went viral because I'll tell you, I did it. Well, I he asked me to do it, and so I recorded with using my dad's because I was still living at home at the time in August 2020, and so I recorded it using my dad's thing, but I wasn't sure how to put the two videos together, and some way or another I ended up deleting the vocal part, so I was frustrated, and I was like, I'm gonna, I'm not even touching this until tomorrow. So the next day, I did it one take. I was like, this take's gonna be it, and then I had to, and then I, what did I do? I recorded it, and then I lip sync for the video. And in hindsight, I should have just recorded the video and the audio so that it lined up. Didn't do that. So some parts I couldn't remember what I did, but I was like, we're gonna keep it because only the Ella Fitzgerald Foundation is gonna see this.
Wrong.
Wrong. And I'm looking at it like, oh, they know they can see my lips moving where I'm not singing. Like they know it. but and that was definitely a lesson. It's like, okay, even if you're frustrated, just make this, nobody else needs to know that. It doesn't need to come out in your presentation or your art or whatever. So but I'm not sure. And I don't even know. Maybe that's how Miss King, if you're watching this, maybe that's how she saw it because my YouTube was not popping back then. So I was like, it must have been that video, like going around in different circles and stuff like that. Um, so I don't know the secret. I mean, you see people on TikTok, they be going viral for anything. So I don't know. I'm
I
not
know why
sure.
you go viral. It's because of your incredible voice. But speaking of Regina King, how does
Mhm.
it feel when these celebrities post you and they're at your concerts and they're in your DMs? Like, how does that feel?
It's kind of it's unreal because I would have never, like, it just feels like we're in different worlds. Like we're living in different worlds as far as, the circles you travel and, what you have to do. Like she's not only an amazing actress, but she's a director and producer and stuff like that. So I'm thinking like stuff like that should never happen because you're so consumed, I guess, in your own in your work and your family or whatever. So the fact that the fact that some way or another she found out who I was, and not only that, but like I was present enough on her mind to like mention it like that, like in an interview. Every time I watch it, I just get like, I'm like, how did she even did she just say my name just right there? And is it really me? Because she said I was like 16 years old, even though I'm 22. But like, did she really talk about me? Is it really? But it's I just take it as a blessing. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful that somehow, even though I didn't think that our worlds would ever collide, it happens like that. I'm grateful that they reach out and say it because
It's really
I definitely
exciting when I
wouldn't
stroll
believe it.
through their story.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we had like delay, but it's really
No.
exciting when I stroll through the stories and I'm like, Lakeith, Regina King.
And that was in 2020. Like that was in December of 2020. No album, or I had just recorded it, but it hadn't been released yet. So I'm like, what is this? What are they seeing? I barely posted on social media then, so I don't know. I mean,
You're seeing
I'm not
greatness,
sure.
greatness.
I'm not sure.
It's the
Man,
greatness.
it took me 2 years to post
So
that.
you've given a lot of good advice. So tell me, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Hmm, the best piece of advice I've ever received. Hmm. Say there's a lot of gems that I think that come to mind at different points, like right when I need them. Hmm. Best piece of musical advice or like advice in
It can be
general?
anything.
Well, my mom, um, who is not a musician, she's definitely a 9 to 5 kind of person. Um, she's just always taught me to be independent and always have your own money, always have never have to, not never, but if you have to ask for something more than once, then just get it yourself. As far
Mhm.
as borrowing and stuff like that. So that's one of the main. I can't think of any like gems right now, but I know it's going to come later. But that's the main thing that I think that my mom, not only to um keep my faith up and keep my expectations and hope up as far as trusting in God for wisdom and guidance on the future, but always making sure that I have my own, and not having to ask for and borrow and stuff like that.
Wow,
So
I almost must be related because those are some of the things that I've been told. That's it. So fun questions. What's your favorite thing to do when you have an off day from work?
ooh, I love roller skating. I love
Mm.
roller skating. I love painting, and I love dancing.
Ooh,
So
that
I
is
think that, and I like reading. But I like reading too. I have my little library over here.
oh, a
So
scholar too.
yeah,
Look at that.
a scholar. No, no, no. But yeah,
What's the best country you visited?
I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Portugal.
Mm.
I enjoyed Portugal. The food, and we got the chance to go to Milan and Sicily. So do different two different parts of Italy. So I think Italy and Portugal. I'm sorry, you said the best one. Italy. I'll say Italy because of the food.
That's a good one. What's your favorite thing to splurge on? Like you just gotta have it. You'll drop whatever amount.
Thrift store.
That's a
I go
good
to
one.
the thrift store and I go in there and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for something for specifically for a gig. Even though now I only have gig clothes and I don't have regular clothes, but I go there and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look in the dress section, I'm gonna look in the tops and men's shirts or whatever and see what I can find. And then, there ends up being a sale and things get out of
Wow.
hand. But, I changed my mind at the register, so I guess that's what happened. But, either thrift store or gifts for other people.
Oh, that's sweet. Wow.
So I'm out. I'll be like, they would like that. All right, come on. Let's see. I'll make up for it. I'll do something.
So what's your dream collaboration?
Hmm. My dream collaboration with any musician.
Anybody.
See, I wasn't supposed to, but when I was in high school, I loved listening to Kendrick Lamar for some reason. So And I love the singers that he like. I would hear Layla Hathaway on some of his songs, and so I think if he asked me to do something, I would, yeah,
I
yeah.
would love that. That would be great. And also because he just has like such good lyrical content, like the
Hmm.
things that he talks about.
Like
And
he's
just like
actually,
I feel like his beats are like they're not just like boom cat. They're like nice, soulful,
mhm,
like
exactly informed. They're it's great. So I think if he asked me, yeah, I do that.
that'd be good. You heard it here first. Okay, last question. Cardi B or Meg the Stallion?
Dang. Well, Cardi B's from the Bronx,
I was gonna
so
say.
I think I have to. I think I have to side. I don't. And the thing is, I don't even intentionally like listen to either of them, and it's not because of anything, but it's just like I just hear it. I just hear it, like Bodak Yellow or any of her other songs. I just hear them everywhere, and so it's in my head. It's in my dome. That's what I was talking about earlier. See, jazz is everywhere. Cardi B is everywhere. Jazz, on the other hand, is not. You have to fight, to keep that sound in your head. So yeah, but I think Cardi B all day.
Yeah, I like Cardi B best too because she's a Libra like me. We're
Yeah.
so okay, Samara, thank you so much for being here today. It's
Thank
been
you
a
so much for
joy,
having me.
Samara Joy.
Yeah.
So where can people keep up with you and your music? You have a website?
Yes, samarajoy.com. I just downloaded TikTok, or I just started getting active on there about a week ago. So go check that out. Some good stuff coming. YouTube, Facebook, all Samara Joy.
Wow, that's great. Thank
Mhm.
you everyone for tuning in. This was another Music is Unity's artist series, and we'll be back next week. Thank you.
Thank you.